Welcome back to another episode of Henry TV. I am your host, 22 Plinkster here, and I have a good friend of mine, Tim.
How's it going?
Pretty good. This is Tim with the Military Arms Channel, and you're probably thinking to yourself, why is a military guy here talking about Henry rifles or on Henry TV? Well, I'll tell you why. In the past, our military has used Henry rifles, okay? The 1860 and also the AR-7, which we have in our hands. Tim's going to tell you just a few things about the AR-7.
So, the original Henry Rifle Company did make the 1860 rifle, which was used in the Civil War. They purchased the rights to the AR-7, which we have here. This one is broken down in its transporting form, and what you're holding is one that's fully assembled, ready for use. And the AR-7 was developed by Armalite. More importantly, it was developed by Eugene Stoner. Now, if that name doesn't mean anything to you, you've probably been living under a rock.
Yep.
But Eugene Stoner is famous for designing the AR-10, which then became the AR-15, which then became the M16, America's longest serving military rifle. So he designed this. Now, the Air Force at the time had what they were calling the AR-5, which was a bolt-action rifle that was a survival rifle chambered in .22 Hornet. And Eugene Stoner was tasked with coming up with something better, and this is the design that he came up with, which is a semi-automatic .22 that breaks down. The rifle that you're holding in your hand is actually, all those components are right here stored in this buttstock. And so this is not only popular, of course, that was designed in around 1958 by Armalite, okay? And so by 1973, Armalite was having some problems. They did get these adopted by the Air Force. Air Force pilots were using them as survival rifles for small game survival, things like that. Then they had sold the rights to a couple of different companies, Charter Arms. There was another company called AR-7 Arms or something in between. But then Henry obtained the rights to the rifle, and they made some improvements to it. So we'll talk about a few of those improvements. But first of all, let's just take a look at how everything, all those components, are stored in the buttstock of the gun. So again, it's buoyant. This thing floats, so if you, it's really popular with people that like to go camping, survivalists that want a little .22 to take small game, things like that.
I'm a big kayaker, so I always have mine in my kayak with me when I go.
Right. So if you go upside down and your rifle gets out of your boat, it'll be floating right down beside you instead of going to the bottom of the drink. But here we have the receiver. We have the barrel right here, and then we have two loaded magazines. Now, one of the changes that Henry made from the original design is that it will accept an 8-round standard capacity magazine in the receiver and still go into the buttstock. The original wouldn't allow you to do that. So with the Henry, you can actually have 3 magazines in the stock, loaded, ready to go. The standard magazine capacity again would be 8 rounds, but they were also offered in 10-round and 15-round capacities. But
one thing that I like to do, I always keep 3 magazines in mine, but I always keep 1 magazine full of tracers because it could help assist starting a fire. And best thing for signaling, you know, if it's at night, you need a signal for help or whatever have you, always keep, 8 tracers in there for things like that. So
that's something I hadn't even thought of. That's actually a really good idea. So let's go ahead and put the gun together here really quick. I'll show you how it's done. I'm going to stick the butt cap in my pocket here and pull out the receiver. All right, and so here's the little receiver, and all you have to do is set the receiver in here. I'll try not to drop anything out the rear. All right, and then there's a little screw here in the grip that you turn, and you tighten this down, and it's going to draw up that receiver tight to the stock. All right, make a few turns here, and you want that snug. All right, now I'm going to take my barrel out, and again, it's stored in the stock just like that. Now you'll notice here on the front, there's a little index tab. That's so you'll know when the barrel is lined up properly, so you just kind of put it in the receiver and turn it until it locks. See, it just locked in. And now I'm just going to turn the screw and tighten it all the way down. You're going to want to snug this thing up tight, right? Because if this comes loose, your accuracy will degrade. All right, and you turn that real tight. And now you have, I'm going to point this in a safe direction, the ability to go ahead and put one of the magazines that's stored in the buttstock into the gun itself. I'm going to go ahead and put the cap back on it here, make sure I get it the right direction. And now what we have is a fully functioning .22 caliber survival rifle. Now what's really kind of cool about it is you have a thumb safety right here, so forward's fire, back is safe. The charging handle goes in, so it makes a nice small package. When you want to use the charging handle, you just pull it out, pull it to the rear, and let it go. Now we just made a hot weapon. I'm going to go ahead and put it on safe. I can collapse that charging handle, and this little gun's ready to fire.
And it does have a Weaver style rail on the top, so
Yes.
you know, it's kind of hard to be, you know, to put it on there if it's coming out of
Right.
out of the buttstock. But if you wanted to keep it in this configuration without putting it back in the buttstock, and you'll put a little red dot on there or something like that, or a little scope,
Which is important to
know.
note. It's a Weaver rail, so it's not
Yep.
the same as a 1913 pick
That's
rail.
correct.
It's a little bit smaller, but you can put optics on there because Weaver's still a popular option, and that's one of the changes that Henry made from the original design. They also use Teflon on the barrel, so what you have basically is a barrel sleeve, which was the same as the original design by Armalite, and then Armalite put aluminum, I believe, around the sleeve, the steel sleeve. They're using polymer, and it's Teflon coated, and then the receiver is aluminum, and it's Teflon coated, which again is an improvement over the original aluminum anodized receivers. So this thing is very resistant to corrosion, especially if you're going to use it in places like saltwater environments, boating. It has very rudimentary sights. Rear is adjustable for elevation, and your front is drift adjustable for windage. You'll know you have a really bright front sight blade. So overall, I mean, this is a really neat little gun. Does like round nose bullets, prefers the hotter stuff. But if you're using, you know, like CCI mini mags, like we will be this afternoon, these little guys run pretty darn good.
All right, well, we've told them pretty much everything they need to know about it. Let's do some shooting.
Sounds fun. I'm going to go ahead and make the AR-7 hot. What's kind of neat is it has the feed lips built into the magazine. Just stick the magazine into the rifle, charge it, put it on fire, and all right, just ran dry. Now your magazine release is right here by your finger. Push that and draw your spent magazine out. Let me grab a fresh magazine here really quick. Have one in my back pocket. And to load it again, just stick your magazine in. Slides right in. All right, I'm going to go ahead and charge the rifle again. Does not lock open on last shot fired. And let's see, we got some silly string down there. See if we can hit that. And I think there's some shaving cream. That makes a nice mess. And let's shoot some steel out there. Looks like it's maybe 50 yards or so out. That was a lot of fun. Have a crack at it, Plinkster.
All right, so basically his model is the black. This is the one is camouflage. This is my favorite. So I'm a big outdoorsman. I love to hunt, love to fish. So all right, let's stay right here with the shaving cream first. All right. Wow. All right, silly string right in the middle. Oh, oh, he's gonna live another day. Well, Tim, come on over here, buddy. Thank you very much for coming out to the house.
Thank you.
Telling us, you know, a lot of things about the AR-7. You know, I learned a few things myself about it. Guys, remember, if it's not made in the USA, it's not going to be made at all.